Morning. I overslept by about 2 hours, so I have a ton of stuff to do today, so I am stressed. This is by no means a flawless iced coffee recipe, but I don't have my fancy syrups, so I've just been doing agave syrup until I can order more. So if you're planning on copying this recipe, it's not my fault and I'm sorry. All right, it is technically day 2, but really day 1 of actually vlogging, and we are off to a banging start this morning. I spent most of the morning dealing with audio issues with my brand new mic, so I'm having to record a backup that I really hope works with this, or else otherwise I apologize for the audio quality of this video as we work through the kinks on this end. And someone was supposed to come from Facebook Marketplace and pick up something that I'm trying to get rid of, and they ghosted me. So we're batting 1,000 today. But I look at this as like our exposition day if we were making a movie. This is where we get all the exposition about the character and kind of just get a state of the union of where they've been, where they're at, and so we'll get a better idea of where they're going. So for me, one of the biggest goals for this month, which is kind of going to be the theme of this month's vlogs, is evaluating where I'm at, organizing my life in a way that creates space for what I want to accomplish, and creating a plan for implementation. And obviously, first that starts with my environment. So if you notice, I live in a tiny apartment. I haven't done the square footage. I'm guessing it's under 250 square feet. Possibly significantly under that. If I stand on my tippy toes, for context, I am 5'6". I can touch my ceiling. And I have a little bit of room in both directions, but we live in a small space. When people think of New York apartments, generally they're wrong, but in my case, they're right, because I live in a shoebox/coffin. And I'm specifically not showing you the floor because there is an enormous pile of clothes. However, I do have a good reason for why this monstrosity is here, and it is related to getting my life organized. So because I live in such a tiny space, I was paying for a storage unit to keep a lot of my stuff in, especially things like excess winter clothes and things like that, but they recently raised my rent and I just didn't feel like continuing to pay that price for it. So I decided to get rid of the lease for that, save a little bit of money, but that means I had to relocate all of the things that were in the storage unit into here, and I realized very quickly there is simply not enough space for everything. So I am actively in the process of sorting through all of these things and figuring out what I'm going to keep and then what I need to invest in better storage for, because currently this is my dresser and it's ugly and I hate it and I want to get rid of it and get something new in here. So we are truly starting at ground zero for organization. You can also see this line here. I've started wallpapering. This is how far we got. I didn't get so much distracted as realize that I need to get all of this nonsense out of here before I complete the wallpapering. So that was the stopping point. That being said, the parts that I've added wallpaper, I'm really in love with. I'll do a separate video kind of talking about the specific plans for transforming the space, but this is just this is where we're at the moment. One of the funniest things is that I realized a lot of what was in the storage unit is my show jackets. So I truly don't need an online resume. I just need people to see the jackets that I have collected over the years. It was actually really interesting coming across these as I was starting to tackle this organization project, because it's such a physical reminder of what my career was and what my life was like before I decided to transition into my new role in the industry and my new experience. There's so much has happened between when I got these jackets and now that this feels like a different lifetime and yet also feels so immediate. This last 3 years has been such a weird and difficult time for me as I consciously transitioned from the period where I was working in different roles and moving through these kind of shows constantly, to consciously stepping away from that and healing from the damage that was done in some of those spaces, and to then consciously deciding to transition back into working in this industry. That for me feels like a full circle moment of taking all of the amazing that came with the work I've done already and using it to create work that is not only better but safer. Honestly makes me a little bit emotional. So this was a wild thing to come across in the organizing bit of this. But fundamentally, this is just a pile of gratitude, but it needs a home. The pile of gratitude needs a home that is not my floor. So as I try to get my space in order, it's trying to create, oh my God, I'm gonna get like metaphysical. I'm literally trying to create space for my past in my life. But it's true, I am. I'm trying to create space for my experiences of my past in my life, and I'm trying to create space for the jackets of my past in my life. So that's where we're at with that. One of my biggest projects for the afternoon is at the very least getting all of this tidied up, put in laundry, or put away so I have space to work for the rest of the day, because this is driving me bananas. So we got to sorting and folding pretty much everything. We still have this mayhem going on over here, but we got a big chunk of it done. And then I got a bunch of emails, and there was conversations and work stuff, so work completely derailed this project. But we've made progress, and this can all at least get now somehow put away. I have this closet and this thing to shove all that into. I don't feel super confident with how that's gonna go, but progress is being made. But speaking of work, that really brings me into kind of the next State of the Union, which is this is the year that I'm really hoping to like dig into my career and into this newest evolution of my career like I haven't been able to over the last couple years. For context, anybody that's new here, I currently work as an intimacy coordinator in the film and television industry. Prior to that, I've worked for around 10 years, a little over 10 years, in other roles in that industry. So I started out as a little baby PA, and then I worked my way up to doing like assistant directing work, and I also worked as an assistant to the stunt department for several different very stunt heavy shows. And at the end of 2019, beginning of 2020, I decided to take a step back from set work. And that's really where I was reevaluating my relationship with the industry and where I found my path to intimacy coordinating. So I spent the first 2 years, spent 2020, 2021, and 2022, so really almost 3 years, focusing on training for intimacy work. Finished my training to be an intimacy coordinator, and I went into my mentorship period where I'm working on set. I'm like, yay, I'm ready to go work. And then the entire industry went on strike for a full year. So I spent all of 2023 mostly on the picket line. I was still really fortunate to work on some amazing projects in that time, and I feel super blessed. But work was like slower. There was really no work in the sense that I was used to, in the quantity I was used to, and on the kind of sets I was used to. So that was wild. And then after the strike ended, we were like, yay, we get to go back to work. And then we've had the slowest year on record for the industry. So we've had the least number of things be made, which has resulted in just less work for everybody. So I feel like this year I just didn't get an opportunity to like dig into the number of projects that I would really like to, and really build those relationships and spend that time on set like I would like. So my true hope and desire for this year is that we see more of a rebound in the industry, and I'm able to make more connections and really build more relationships with creative partners, and just get to do the work that I love in the way I love to do it. I was getting organized and like hoping to keep expanding career and working on my career. Obviously, I talked about being single, and I think I'll examine this more as we go on, but I do know that there is some desire to kind of create space in my life for another relationship. After going through not one, but two very public breakups with the same person, I definitely took a big step back from that part of my life. I really kind of shut down the desire to be in another relationship anytime soon. And so I think that I can feel that part of me starting to like open back up. And I don't know what that looks like or means, but that's certainly something I'm considering making space for in my life going forward, as cryptic as that sounds. But
for the purposes of State of the Union, very single, and been much more focused on career and building relationships with my friends and building out and really just building out my community and working on my larger goals, with very much the strong belief that if somebody comes along, they will come along within the flow of that. I've always been of the belief of like, do what you love and do what makes you happy, and people will find you through that. And I feel like I've had great success with that. So that's the State of the Union on that. And we'll talk more about that later. But I think that's pretty much all I've got for today. Today was very much like work and organizing and filling you guys in on where we're at with things. So tomorrow is my birthday. Well, tomorrow is my birthday party. So there will be much chaos. And I have a lot of feelings about that I will get into tomorrow. So you'll get to come along on the chaos that is all of that, which is officially celebrating my 34th birthday, even though it was technically 6 days ago. And also actually throwing myself a birthday party for the first time in my adult life. So we'll talk about all that tomorrow, but thanks for hanging out with me today, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye.
All right, let's edit this puppy.
We love the breakfast combo of cream cheese and lactate.